Hello, this is Gio, and look what I have. This is an old pinball machine which I've been working on fixing up, and one of the things I still have to do is replace the power supply cable, and that's what we're going to be doing today. And this is one of my problems. This is the plug end to the existing pinball machine, and as you can see, it doesn't have a ground component. It is wired inside the box for ground, but for some reason, I'm not sure if it was a previous owner of this machine, but they pulled this out probably because the receptacle they plugged it into didn't have a ground arm on it. So I want to replace this with a ground so the machine will work a little bit better and be a little safer. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And so you can buy regular plugs with the male end of the plug with the cord, which just ends at some wires. But sometimes those are more difficult to find. So instead, I picked up just a regular extension cord with some receptacle ends, a plug. It's a 15-foot long. That's about what I want. A 16 gauge plug, and I think this would be a good replacement. But I do have to modify I have to take the plug end, or the receptacle end of the plug out so I could start rewiring it. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so here's a treat for everybody. I don't know how many of you have seen inside a pinball box, but this is basically what it looks like, a bunch of wires. And on the bottom of this box, you could see where the power supply is. Let me just hook up this light, and the cord, the plug that I showed earlier, I do have it unplugged, so I could I'm not afraid to touch things, but this is the cable cord that goes to the power supply, and it does have the negative and positive ends, and also a ground plugged in. So this line does have an original ground. The prong at the plug end was just removed, and so this is where I'm going to connect the ground, positive and negative ends. And fortunately or unfortunately, it is soldered, so I'm going to have to take off the solder. Sometimes when you're replacing a cord, you could just screw it in, or perhaps just use some attachment connectors to connect it. And but in this case, I do have to desolder these and then solder the new ones on. So the first step is to desolder the existing cable. So the first things I'm going to do, just to make it a little easier on myself, is I'm going to just snip the main cable just to get it disconnected so it's easier to use. Again, I have turned off, it's not plugged in, and I'm just going to slip out the old cable to make room so I can get in here with a soldering gun. So the first thing we do is just try to desolder the existing solder. Just heat up your solder gun and get all melted and remove them. Now this one has two grounds, so we're probably going to have to remove both of these and replace both of them when they're done. So we'll finish off removing these wires, and we'll work on the next stage of getting the new cord all ready. Okay, so this is after I desoldered this wire. This is kind of what it looks like. So you have the two negative and positive ends, and then you have the ground end in the center. And this is kind of what I want to replace it with. But first I have to just cut off this this end, and I'll just do that with a pair of snips. Just like that. And then I want to just pull apart the three wires. Take a blade, separate them. Now the middle one should be the ground, and it looks like it's green, so it looks like that is correct. And so I'm just going to split these up, and then I'm going to strip them. So, and after I get done stripping them, it looks very similar to the original. I kind of wound the wires tight, the ground's in the middle, and now it's time to just solder them back just like the way we originally saw them.
Okay, we slipped in the wire back in the box. Now, this is one of the most important things to consider, is which terminal is hot, which one is the ground, and which one's the return. So because the hot wire is typically black, and in this case, since we're using an existing electric cord, it doesn't really have a black, or well, it has a white. Both of them are white, but one of them is our hot wire. And you can't really see this, but there's writing on one of them, kind of in impressions on one side, and that would be the black one. And you could look at the plug and to verify this. And this is the hot terminal. So we're going to be connecting this one to this terminal. Now, if you're not certain about which one's hot, you should check with somebody or look at some instruction manuals, or just have somebody else do it, because you could burn out some of your components if you miswire this. So, okay, since I have two ground wires that have to connect to this, I'm going to connect the ground wires first. Get a little bit of solder on my terminal here. Okay, so after much effort, I've never been the best solderer. I believe I got all these wires on securely. The hot to the hot, grounds, etc. Everything looks good. And so I'll power it up and see and test the system. So I went ahead and plugged in the power. I turn it on. I still the glass is off for now, but let's cross our fingers. Ah, we have power. Does it all work? Let's see. Start a new game. Sure enough, all the flippers work. Looks like I'm in business. Deal. And it's already. So there you go. That's how you put a new electric cord into, in this case, a pinball machine. See you next time.